Welcome to Don't Shrink to Fit podcast, where we explore powerful stories and transformative journeys that inspire us to live authentically and abundantly. I am your host, Claudia Noriega-Bernstein, and today we're diving into a raw and deeply transformative conversation with Cassandra Love Lambert, a trauma-trained somatic transformational coach and author. Cassandra bravely shared her journey through childhood trauma, pulling back the curtain on the challenges she faced and how she rewired her nervous system to create a life of empowerment and balance. In this episode, we talk about the importance of addressing and healing from child abuse, shifting from victim mentality to an empowered mindset, and how boundaries, connecting with a higher power, and aligning with your goals can radically transform your path. Please note, this episode contains sensitive discussions about topics like sexual abuse and might not be suitable for children. This conversation is an eye opener for anyone who has faced trauma or want to better understand the power of healing and personal growth. Let's dive in and explore how Cassandra's story can inspire you to take charge of your own transformation and step into your best self. Hi, everyone. I am very excited to have Cassandra today here because we're going to talk about a lot of things that we don't talk often about. And I wanted to make sure that if you have kids around, that you are mindful because there might be some subjects that might not be for kids. Um, so I'm going to let Cassandra introduce herself and we're going to start chatting.
Well, thank you so much, Claudia. Yeah, my name is Cassandra Love Lambert, also known as C Love, and I'm a mom too. I started off as a single mom as well for 8 years, and it was really hard. But my daughter was my answered prayer. I always think about my life before her. I was really living in like trauma, doing my best to heal, but nothing was quite getting to the roots from a lot of childhood abuse. And then when I had my daughter, she just was my anchor and my guiding compass towards my true north. And um, I found my true purpose through her and the birthing of her and becoming her mom. So I'm really grateful to be here to share whatever wisdom your audience needs, especially around healing from trauma and sexual abuse.
I am always interested in learn about this because I feel that we don't take very serious those traumas.
Hmm.
I mean, if leaving or going for the first time to a daycare can create a
Hmm.
trauma on you, I can only imagine the trauma that you have for being abused or being in a relationship with a parent that probably wasn't emotionally available. That's
Hmm.
one of the reasons why I wrote the book Secrets Don't Include Moms, because I always wanted to make sure that my kids knew that they could come to me. And,
Hmm.
and if they were scared, if somebody was touching them, if somebody was bullying them, if somebody was telling them, I'm going to do this or I'm going to give you this, could be drugs, could be whatever, don't tell your mom. They knew that, or don't tell anybody. They knew that mom was not including that secret. And I
Hmm.
think that a lot of time the abuse happens because the kid doesn't speak, because they keep it
Hmm.
to themselves, and that experience sits in our bodies and it follows us around and becomes like a compass for us, or we go into these patterns when we are in
Hmm.
a relationship, and we follow those patterns because we had that relationship. And even though we know that that was bad, we were getting that attention or we were feeling seen. And it's a
Hmm.
distortion of how feeling seen should feel like, right?
Hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Um, when you speak about these things, I also witnessed my mom in and out of abusive relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't only because I was abused, by a couple of her partners. It was also because I witnessed my mom in abusive relationships. So it becomes part of like your normal, right?
Right.
Of what you think relationship is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And even fairy tales, right? Like they kind of set you up to fail because then you're like sitting here waiting for Prince Charming.
Yeah.
And what fairy tales don't tell us when we're little girls is usually someone who shows up as Prince Charming is actually like a narcissist or an abusive person, right? Because they love
Mm-hmm.
bomb you. They appear to be everything you want and need, but then boop, they're actually manipulative, abusive, and a liar, right? So all these like components don't really set you up to win. And as a child, like if you're witnessing your mom in abusive relationships, then you also get abused. And then you also have these stories telling you to look for Prince Charming, someone to
Mm-hmm.
come save you. It makes you vulnerable to predators.
Right. Right. And also to
Mhm.
complete you, right? That's what
Yeah.
they tell us. You need to find your other half because
Mhm.
you are not enough on your
Yeah, you're
own.
not enough to save yourself, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, that actually leads into my book, right? Like into the light, becoming
Mhm.
my own hero, right?
Right.
Because I used to wish, pray, hope someone would come save me. And all that ever did was open me up to be abused.
That is so sad. In talking about your book, you share a lot of very personal and painful moments of your life.
Hmm.
Your sexual abuse started when you were very young, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So my mom got into a relationship with that particular man when I was 4, but he
Mhm.
didn't actually start doing those things until I was 5. And what happened was we moved in with him into this like huge 3-story house in San Francisco when I was 4. It felt like a fairy tale, right? Like, oh wow, because
Mhm.
we went from this tiny house in a tiny bedroom, me and my mom, to this huge house. I had my own room, and we were going to these like really amazing trips and restaurants and like shopping sprees and stuff like that, right? And then I didn't even realize that maybe they fought or anything because it was always behind closed doors or whatever. Like at that point in time, I didn't realize like maybe they didn't have a great relationship. That
Mhm.
became more apparent when we had to move from this big, beautiful house to this tiny little shacky type 2-bedroom apartment on San Bruno Avenue near the airport, San Francisco airport.
Mhm.
Um, and he lost his job. So my mom was going to work and he was at home with me. And that's when the abuse started to happen.
Oh my gosh. And how long your mom was in that relationship?
Ty was 8.
So for those 4 years, he was molesting you and your mom had no idea.
Yeah, she had no idea. She had no idea, and it's interesting. Like how survivors always have these questions, like, well,
Mhm.
did she not know? Like, how could she not know? I know that back then, too, these conversations weren't happening like they are now. Like, we're in a day and age where it's more widely known and talked about, which is great. But back then, I feel like these kind of things were like more secret, more silenced, more like um taboo, I guess. Even mental health and all that stuff and healing wasn't talked about back then. So I don't know if she just wasn't aware, or you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that questionable
Did,
for sure.
did you ever talk to her? Do you remember talking to her when you were 7 or 8 years old? I mean, I'm imagining at 4 you didn't know what it was, but after a period of time, did you go and talk to her?
Well, so I was really scared, and he really put that in me because when we moved into this house, that's when I did see them fighting. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the fights I saw was I peeked out of the room and she was pregnant with my little sister, and he kicked her in her pregnant belly and she went flying across the room and landed in this wicker chair. Like I could never erase this memory because it was also the first time I saw her cry, and I also talk about it in my book. But it like made me really scared about him, right? And he
Right.
even said like, "Don't tell your mom or else," right? He'd said those words, but then he also would get me gifts. Like, I remember there was this jean jacket he got me, and then he got my
Mm-hmm.
second ear pierced and stuff. So it was like gifts and then also threats. It was a very interesting combination as a child. But, like,
Mhm.
seeing him physically hurt her in that way, like, really scared me when I was little, for sure, from speaking.
Then your mom leaves him, and
Mhm.
you were a period of time in a foster home as well, right?
That's way before him. That was when I was actually 2. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, and that one's actually I don't fully understand how that one has impacted me except for, like, abandonment wounds.
Mhm.
'Cause whenever I go into that memory, I just don't know what I was thinking or feeling. I know I had nightmares about it for a really long time, but, like, could you imagine being 2 and all of a sudden you're just taken from your mom and you don't understand what's going on and you're just put in
Yeah.
this house with strangers, like, and they weren't really nice to me. I do know that because of, like, little sparks of memories.
Mhm.
And they, like, took all my things away from me, and I wasn't able to play with the other kids. Those kind of things I remember. But she was actually in another relationship with another man at that point who was an alcoholic, and they were fighting. And I guess she moved me out of the way, and I hit my eye on the coffee table. And that man's mom called CPS on my mom,
Oh.
so they took me away because of the bruise on my eye, and while my mom was fighting to get me back, they had had another daughter, her and that guy, and that mom and that man got custody of that daughter while my mom was fighting to get me back. She wasn't able to do both as a single mom.
Right.
So my mom chose me, getting me back, and that daughter, we never saw her again.
So you don't know you have a sister somewhere that you.
I do have a sister somewhere. We ended up finding her on social media, the internet,
Mhm.
years later. And what's so interesting is she actually went to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising at the same time I was going to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. So we probably crossed each other in the hallways or
Wow.
in the cafeteria and didn't even know it. But I've never gotten to meet her in person. And she
Mhm.
does follow me on my Instagram.
She knows a little bit
Yeah,
about your story.
she won't talk to my mom, because probably abandonment things, and who knows what story they told her
That's
about
true.
why we
That's
left
true.
or whatever. So there's, like, wounding there, but in a way, she, like, got to not get sexually abused, so in a way, she got the
In a
lucky
way, they save her. You don't know
path.
what kind of life he had with the
True,
grandma and
yeah,
the
I have
dad,
no
but at
idea what they
least,
did.
he
Yeah.
didn't have your experiences,
Yeah,
right?
so yeah, who knows what they did. Obviously, they painted a different picture than what happened because she won't talk to me even, and I was only 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's like these complexity of family dynamics and abuse and trauma that have colored my life for sure.
It's like sometimes I feel that all these negative memories become bookmarks in our
Mhm.
brain, you know?
Totally. Mhm.
Um, you went ahead and started learning about healing yourself, and you learn how to do EMDR and brain spotting and all that stuff to try to heal yourself, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then after a period of time, you realize that a lot of things that you have learned were not helping you. So, what
Mhm.
really helped you to overcome that trauma?
Yeah, so one of the first things was having a stronger relationship with God, creator. I had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of anger there, because of everything I had gone through. I felt forgotten. I'm like, if there is a God, why did I go through all these things? Why wasn't I protected? Yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one of the first things I had to work on was just being curious if there is a higher power. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and as I opened up to that and was working through the anger and, it was guiding me, the higher power, into which is also connected to your intuition,
Right.
guided me towards somatic work. And the first modality I landed on was EFT tapping.
Mm-hmm.
And it really gave me something that I could grab onto. Because, the thing, you go on the healing journey, right? You can't talk to your therapist every minute of the day. They're not in your
Right.
pocket when you get upset or triggered. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
you usually have to wait a week or days before you can talk to someone and to get the
Mm-hmm.
help, right? And then you're really like reliant on this person. But with the EFT, like I was able to use it whenever I needed to.
Right.
which is great for regulation and soothing. And it gave me something to so I wasn't drowning in between sessions to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it, like, got in there to some roots and shifted things where, like, it didn't come back. And you always go through this, like, moment of, like, "Oh, it's just gonna come back." It always comes back, right? Like, whatever it is.
Right.
But
Right.
then it doesn't, and so you have this new baseline for life, and you're like, "Okay." And then you, like, expand into that, right? And then you have a new area of growth to move towards. So, like, EFT Tappy was the staple that
Mm-hmm.
really started shifting things, and not temporarily, it was, like, permanently shifted.
So did you wait until you were, and I'm going to use the word comfortable, but it's not the right word, I'm sure,
Mhm.
comfortable with yourself to communicate with your mom about your experiences?
So, m if we go back to that time frame, I could say his name because he's dead. He got
Mm-hmm.
karma. Woohoo, he
Mm-hmm.
got karma. But, Bobby was his name, and, there was a moment where one of my friends from school came home with me, and I thought I was safe. I was not safe. He came in the room
Mm-hmm.
with us naked, and he was directing us and telling us to do all these things to each other and with my stuffed animal and this and that. So I had a witness, and as
Oh,
awful as that
now it
was,
wasn't, and now it wasn't just
it
he's doing
wasn't just
this to me.
me. Yeah.
Mm.
And as awful as that was, I was like, "Shit, I'm not alone anymore. I have
Mm-hmm.
this person." And, so when my mom left him, I had no I was worried. I was like, "Did she find out? Like, am I what's happening?"
Oh,
Like, I
so
was
you have not talked to her yet.
No, I
Okay.
didn't know why we were moving out or what happened, and I was scared and I was worried, like, did
Mm-hmm.
she find out? Like, what's going on? Um, so when we did move away from him and she left him, we were still seeing him because my sister. So there's
Right.
custody piece, right? So another
Right.
layer of complication. And I didn't want him to be able to see my sister, right?
Because you were afraid that he was going to do the same thing to her.
Yeah, actually, I knew he was doing the same thing to her because I would go with them on, like, we would all go together and we went to his
Mm.
new house, and he took her to the bathroom instead of me. And I shared this with my friend who had been in an
Mm-hmm.
experience with me, and she's the one who told me, "You need to tell your mom to protect your sister." And
And
so,
your friend didn't tell her mom.
no, I guess she didn't tell her parents, but she went with me to
Isn't that
go tell my
crazy
I
how
think
these
so.
predators keep on using these
Mhm.
children because they don't talk to their
And they
parents, so
don't
they
talk
don't
to
talk to
anybody.
anyone?
Well, yeah, well, to be fair, that friend also had a not perfect, situation at home. I
Mm.
don't think she was being molested, but, like, her parents were, drugs, alcohol, this and
Mm-hmm.
that, not very present. She was
Right.
actually my not my she wasn't my good influence type friend. Like, if I ever went to her house, we were like things that we shouldn't have been doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she went with me to my mom to tell my mom, but I just broke down crying. So she actually was the one who told my mom. And so then there was this whole thing of telling the cops, and I was too scared to talk. So I literally wrote an essay
Mm-hmm.
about everything. And then it took forever to get my sister from this man. So for
Wow.
a long time, I felt wrong and guilty for telling because now I couldn't go visit with her and she was going by herself to his
Mm.
house.
But
And
how did they allow him to have
yeah, that's the thing. The system
the
took so
partial
long.
custody of a
Yeah,
child when he was investigated by molesting you? I mean, how
yeah.
I, I was a very overprotected mom because I
Mhm. Oh,
have
me
my
too. I am.
own
Yeah, me too.
I have my own bad experiences, and
Mhm.
I didn't want my kids to be ever exposed or experience anything like that. So
Mhm.
I if I had to choose between my girls being angry at me because I didn't let them go and have a sleepover,
Yeah. Mhm.
I
I
was
could do
actually
that.
talking to
Yeah,
one of my daughters, yeah,
totally.
2 days ago, and she said, now that we think about it, we never went to sleepovers when we were kids. But my
Mhm.
friends always sleep over in our house. And I was the kind of mom who asked a million questions. Who's in the
Mhm.
house? Do you
Yep.
have guns? Do you guys take a pill to go to sleep? Do you have
Mhm.
friends over? Is everybody
Mhm.
drinking? Are my kids going to be with older brothers, younger brothers? I mean, I
Mhm.
ask a lot
Mhm.
of questions.
Yep.
And some parents will look at me like, what is this about? I mean, it's just a
Mhm.
sleepover, right? And I
Mhm.
will say, listen, I'm sorry, I'm a single mom. I need to make sure my kid is going to be safe. Now, if you would rather your daughter sleep over my house, by all means, I'd be happy to have her. So, in a way, those parents were like, okay, this woman is a freak. My kid is going to be super
Yeah.
safe. And
Yeah.
she's not going to have a problem. Let's just send them there and have a night off. So I always had kids in my house and they would always sleep over. And I would have like 5, 6, 7, 8 kids in my
Mhm.
house, and they would camp in the living room with sleeping bags
Yeah, so
and
you were the safe place for all the
I
kids.
was the safe place for all, and it's
Mhm.
funny because now all these kids call me mom because they grew up with me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm friends with their parents, of course, but it never dawned on them, on my kids, that they were never able to go to sleep anywhere. And that
Mhm.
was my trauma response, like I
For
don't want
sure.
my kids to go through anything that I went
Mhm.
through because I would be in jail after that,
Oh,
I
yeah.
will make it look
Yeah.
like an accident and then I would be in jail because I would not be able to live the rest of my life knowing that I have exposed any of my kids to something like this. So I
Yeah.
imagine you're that kind of mom too.
Oh, yeah, my daughter gets upset, and I don't care. And yeah, I've had talks with the mom too, like, cause one of the mom has son, and I'm just like, I ask her questions. I'm like, where do they sleep? Where do the girls sleep? Like, how do you keep
Mm-hmm.
the boy away from them? Like, he's younger. Like, I have so many questions all the time. And most of the time I tell her, no, you can't go over there. I don't know the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I do meet them or I meet the kid and I'm like, no, you can't go to their house, but they could come here. Same thing. And I think that's smart. If I were to backtrack to, like, the custody thing, I don't know how it is nowadays, but back
Mm-hmm.
then, they didn't just take away custody from someone if they were being investigated for sexual abuse. Like, my sister, there's I talk about it in my book too, like, I just felt like I had done the wrong thing because there was no justice for so long.
Right.
There was a Christmas, like, he was coming to get her, and we were just crying, holding each other at the front door. We didn't wanna let her go, and a cop came, and a cop made my mom give my sister to him because of the custody. And so, like, I've had this, like, interesting relationship with not trusting the system or not trusting,
Mm-hmm.
the police because, like, they didn't really bring justice, and justice never was served in, like, the legal way. God took care of him. He ended up dying a weird death of, like, his internal organs liquefying. I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
sepsis. He contracted sepsis, so he got his
Wow.
karma, but it wasn't through legal justice that he got served, you know?
And how is your sister now?
My sister also is, like, in therapy finally, but she has her own, things she deals with. We got impacted differently,
Right.
so, her the way it impacts her is just different than it's impacted me. Like me, it's like I have really strong reactions and triggers to like nudity or like sex scenes or
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Whereas my sister, she has a more hard time like, feeling her emotions. Like she'll go to anger or she shuts down a lot and it has a hard time being vulnerable. So, trauma just impacts everyone differently.
Do you feel like life's challenges are holding you back from becoming the woman you're meant to be? Well, it is time to take charge of your journey and reclaim your power. I want to introduce you to my free downloadable workbook. It's called Empowered Journey: Overcoming Challenges and Embracing Abundance. This workbook is designed to help you identify the obstacles in your life, map out actionable steps to overcome them, and stay motivated with daily affirmations. Download it today and start your journey to becoming the most empowered version of yourself. The first step to change is just one click away. Let's grow together. The link is in the description of this episode. And now, back to the show. Were you afraid to have kids?
I always wanted to be a mom, and I didn't realize how afraid I would be till, like, she was in my tummy and I was preparing to have a baby, and I was like, "Oh, crap. This is actually really scary." It was so scary, just the idea of protecting this being, and I've never felt safe or protected here, and so I kind of felt like a jerk for bringing a child into this world because of
Mhm.
how much evil can exist
Yes,
here, right?
right. And I'm sure it was more impactful to find out that you were having a girl.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, so basically, I had done a ton of, personal development, healing work in my 20s,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it was as if I hadn't done anything because I got flooded. I had what, like a trauma capsule open with her because she was a girl.
Right.
And so then my greatest fear was, oh my God, I don't want what happened to me to happen to her. And as a single
Mhm.
mom too, I'm like, oh man, well, how would I even be able to find a partner? Because like, I'm not going to trust anybody, like
Right.
it became very complex.
Yeah. But I
Mhm,
think it's very brave of you to write this book with so much detail, because not only you are allowing, the audience to peek into your experience in your life and learn, but also get hints of what not to do. I mean, sometimes we trust too much. And it's a double-edged sword, because you want your kids to trust and to trust themselves and to be self-confident. But if you raise a child with fear, then
mhm.
also they're not going to be self-confident. So it's a balance right there,
It is a
and
balance.
when you have gone through those experiences, you are going to be more fearful than any normal, in quotes, parent that didn't have those experiences, because they're going to be more trusting, of the neighbor or the person that offered them something in the park or whatever,
Mhm,
because they didn't have the experience of, oh, somebody gave me a candy and then took me in a van and abused me. They didn't
mhm,
have that experience. So why would you think about that possibility if it didn't happen to you? By you writing this book, and I'm saying in detail because I have read some part of the books that is not out yet. You are very detail oriented. So you
mhm,
talk in detail about certain things that even for me were hard to read, because I can imagine a
mhm,
little girl having to go through that. And I admire your strength, because you have come out of the fire. You have come out the other way. And now you have your story to share with the world and say, you know what? Yeah, you can have a really shitty upbringing. You can have a mother that is not emotionally available. You can have abuse, but then it's your choice to look at
mhm,
yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I am not going to be a consequence of that. I am
mhm,
going to work on myself. I'm going to be my best version, whatever God had planned for me to be, and not what happened to me.
mhm,
And I'm going to be the best mom I can, so I can raise a healthy daughter, a secure daughter, a confident daughter, and break that cycle.
mhm.
So I think it's very admirable what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and the biggest piece to me that I really love is just how much I've protected my daughter's innocence.
Hmm.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
That's what it's about because mine was taken and it's something you can't get back.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is to have a healthy sexuality. You know what I mean?
You still deal with things that come back in your mind now after all the work you have done on yourself?
Oh yeah, I feel like there's some like cuz like I feel like there's some wounds that just
Hmm.
will always be there, right?
Hmm.
So you just learned how to manage it better, you learn how to navigate life with it better. You learn how to take care of yourself when you're activated better. But I just think that sometimes there's just some wounds you just can't erase or make like it was before.
You cannot heal them.
Not that you can't heal it, it's just like it's almost like consciousness, right? Like once your
Mm.
consciousness expands, you can't go back to being ignorant, right?
Right, right.
So like once you move past something like sexuality at 5, it's not like I can go back to being that
Right.
5-year-old before, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? 'cause I'll always know what
That that happened.
happens.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's like
So
something gone, can't get back.
what would you advise a mom that is listening to you now when it comes to kids, when it comes
Mm,
to communication with kids, when it comes to, protecting the innocence of your child without being too possessive to the point that the kid will run away because he can't take it anymore. So
mhm,
how do you find that balance, that I'm protecting you, but you still have some freedom?
mhm, mhm.
What would you advise those parents?
Yeah, one thing is to just make sure you're talking with your kids, right? Like, make it safe for them to talk with you and share with you. That's a big piece because if your child just always feels scared to talk to you, then you're going to miss out on a lot there.
Mhm.
And I never really talked to my daughter like she was a kid, like I kind of, she's wise. And one thing my daughter, like I always, she just came out this way, but she really has she's really always had boundaries with her body.
Mhm.
Like I never forced her to kiss me. I never forced kisses on her. I never forced her to hug me if like she didn't want to hug me.
Mhm.
If she didn't wanna sit on Santa's lap, I didn't make her sit on Santa's lap, right? She's always been this like, she sat next to Santa even when she was little, and I was totally cool with that, and it made me actually think like, "Why are we making kids sit on these strange man's laps? Like, what are we
Right. It's
doing?"
weird. Now
And
that
we
we
don't know
think
who this
about
guy
it.
is under this suit, right? Like, she made me
Right.
think of things.
We don't think about those things,
Right?
and
Because 'Cause you're sitting next to their private part, right? And who knows, that
you're
could be
sitting
like a
right there on their
predator, you
private
know?
part. Right.
Yeah,
And
but, like, she's actually taught me things, like and also, like so, like, yeah, don't force, like, those kinda affections, like, let them have their boundaries with their body, like, they don't
mhm.
have to give you a hug or kiss every time they see you just because 'cause you're the mom or the grandma or whatever, like, even with,
Mhm.
like, family members, right? Like, my mom would try to make her kiss her, I'm like, She doesn't wanna kiss you, she doesn't have to," like, she gets to have that autonomy. And then I remember there was this lady from church. Her husband tried to put my daughter on her lap, and my daughter didn't like that. I was like, no, she doesn't want to sit on your lap, like allow them to, like, because they know where they feel safe, or
Right.
what feels good to them. So allowing them to have autonomy with their body. And yes, teaching them about their private parts and nobody touches your private parts. But also don't make them feel shame for their body, right? Like, so when she was a baby, she liked to run around in her diaper or like take off her clothes to get in her
Mhm.
pajamas. And I'm like, good baby. Like, so celebrating, that she feels good about her body, but in
Right.
like an innocent way, right? Like,
Mhm.
you don't want to shame them. And like, like COVID, she gained a little bit of weight. And I was like, very like, Mom, don't talk about her weight all the time. That's going to make her self conscious. Like,
Right.
and don't talk about your weight all the time because then she's gonna, like, hear that and put it to herself, like, um, these are just some of the ways and yeah, don't just let your kid go with whoever, wherever, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you gotta ask a lot of questions, like, I don't think girls should stay the night at houses where there's boys. Like, I
Mhm.
just like, if there's a brother or something, you have to ask a lot of questions, like, how are you keeping them separated, especially in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Because so many stories of, like, babysitters' sons or stepbrothers or
Yeah.
friends of brothers or, there's
I actually
so many
know a
sto
couple of cases that,
yeah, so
and
many stories.
it was her young uncle, and
Mhm,
it's not a big deal, and just show us this and show us that,
mhm,
and that kid now is going through those traumas because, you
mhm.
know,
Yeah.
they were left with their cousin to watch them. And
Even with daycare,
yeah.
right? Like, 'cause co-ed daycare, like,
Mm,
things happen at daycare all the time. Like, my that daughter just shared with me that one of her friends, a little boy at daycare, was sticking stuff in her private area when she was little, and so she's dealing with that. And
your daughter?
my daughter's friend,
Oh, okay.
and my daughter shared it with me because she
Mm,
shares things with me. She's like, "You
right.
should talk to her mom because that's what you help people with, right?" And she asked me, "Mom, is that what happened to you?" And I was like, "No, not exactly." And she's like, "But that's abuse, right?" Like, I'm like, "Yes, that's abuse, right?" Like, so just
Mhm.
having these conversations so they understand, right?
How old is your daughter now?
She's 11.
And she still doesn't know the stuff that happened to you. She
She
just know that,
knows. Yeah,
but
she
not
knows.
in detail.
Not
Okay.
in extreme. She wants to read my book, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "Okay, well, I'm trying to gauge age, about when
Mhm.
you can read my book. Well, there's a lot of adult things in my book that I don't want you reading, but maybe we can do it together and have conversations.
Mhm.
That way she's aware of things. Mhm.
She doesn't answer her own questions, and
Or
that's
get
very
it from
important.
kids. Well, with the
Yeah.
internet these days, you have to be really careful because even if you don't let your kid go on the internet, other
Mhm.
kids are doing it, and then they're
Other
sharing
kids
it
are
with your
allowed.
kid.
Right. Right.
And that's what's been a struggle too, is because they limit, like, you can't just be on YouTube all the time, and you can't watch this or that, but then her
Mhm.
friends, right? So it creates that
They are
friction,
allowed to. Right.
and so then your kids are getting information from other kids because other kids' parents aren't, as strict or protective.
Mhm.
So it's constantly having these conversations because they'll get the information from someone else or
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Well, I am so happy you're here. I'm so happy that you're talking about this because, as I said at the beginning, this is not a subject that everybody talks about.
Mhm.
Um, we never want to think that is somebody in our family, and most of the times it
Oh, yeah.
is,
The
you know?
statistics the statistics, 1 in 4 girls.
Yeah. It's somebody in the family, it's somebody they trust,
Mhm.
and that trust is gone after that. And the ripple effect is horrible because
Mhm.
you're going to become an adult that you don't trust anyone.
Mhm.
And you're not gonna trust yourself either because you were not able to make the right choice for you, and it's like, a snowball. So I think we need to have this conversation, and we need to talk with people like you that have gone, unfortunately, through these experiences, but had found the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
And now you work on yourself, you help other women deal with
Mhm.
those traumas,
Mhm.
and I can't wait for your book to come out.
Mhm.
So I'm going to have the links and everything in the description of the show. I really appreciate your trust, Cassandra, being here and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claudia, and I agree. This is a conversation that just has to keep happening because there's so many people too who hold it in and sit in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we talk about it, the more they feel courage to also come forward and share.
Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. And even though it's very sad, I just want to add this, it's very sad that it's becoming so common.
Mhm.
It might be common because we're talking about it, but that doesn't mean that it started happening now. It's been happening for many,
It
many
happens.
years to many,
Mhm.
many people, many,
Yep.
many adults that are probably listening that have memories of this happening to them. I think the only positive thing is that the conversation is open,
Mhm.
and it can lead us to be more open with our own kids and talk about things that maybe are uncomfortable, but in the long run, is going to protect them.
100%. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening to the Don't Shrink to Fit podcast. If you like this episode, please write a juicy comment below and subscribe to my podcast. Remember, we can only fly if we embrace each other. Until next week, be happy, be safe, and be kind to yourself.